Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. Today we're going to be looking at this brand new gaming headset. It comes from a company called REDRAGON. This is the Zeus 2. I do believe there's a Zeus 2 Pro or something like that, and that would just be this headset, but wireless. The one I'm showing you here is wired, as I do prefer wired headsets, as with wired mice and wired keyboards and etc. Okay, anyway, I did have this imported. It comes from, again, REDRAGON. So you being able to get this is going to be based on what source or platform you go through, although they do have a website, so maybe you can get it through there. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. You've seen the front already. This side has nothing there. The back, there's actually quite a good amount of written on here, so I'm going to zoom in. Alright, so here are the listed out features on the back of the box. Feel free to pause if you want to read out all those little bullet points. Moving over to the product accessories that it apparently comes with. We have these kind of little pictures. So we have the 3.5 audio cable. As I said, it's wired headset. Has a removable microphone, so it looks like you can just plug it directly into the headset there. Sweet. And then we have the 3.5 audio cable 1 to 2. Alright, so this must that must connect to the end of that to split it in, so you can put one of the jacks there you see into your microphone on the back of your PC, the microphone port, and the other, of course, into the headset / speaker port. So, alright, got that, that's cool. Then you have the PU bag. Okay, so you have a cool bag with the REDRAGON logo on it, and then also a USB controller box, which at least it seems to be like inline controls, like volume and whatnot. Of course, we'll see it when we open it up. Alright, now getting to the product specifications. So there are the specs, and then there's more specs over here. Oh, so that's for the microphone. And that one was for the headset, or the speakers as they call it. Alright. So there we go. It supports all the way Windows 10. I'm assuming Windows 11 will also work, because that's what I'm going to be using it with, so we'll know shortly enough. And then, okay, yeah, it's made in China, and there is this barcode. And, alright. And then on the side here, it has, let me focus, there we go. So, yeah, we kind of already saw that on the back, but there it is listed again. Okay, so for the top, we have a retail hanger and also a security seal, which has, again, the logo, but also gives us the website. So there you are. And yeah, and the bottom doesn't have anything. Alright, so overall impressions of the packaging, yeah, it's great. So first of all, the box is nice and sturdy. Even me giving it a good squeeze here, the box does not deform. I'm assuming the headphones are in there on a tray, which is adding to the rigidity. The retail hanger feels nice and secure. Does not feel like the lid's going to rip off and then fall to the floor. Trust me, some of the cheaper hangers do just that. They don't stay on the shelf long before they rip, and then you have to, tape it up, and then that doesn't look good for potential customers. They think it's used. So I like it when the retail hanger is nice and durable, as this one seems to be. And also, this is quite obviously meant to be an export, not only because most of it's written in English, but if you look here, there's a couple important sentences here are like written in how many languages? So yes. That's a plus, and yeah, I think it does black and red. Color scheme works great, as it always does. Those are great colors together, but how they kept the rest of the box nice and black kind of gives it that kind of pro elite kind of look. So yeah, so far so good. So let's get to the unboxing. Alright, so I just took off what would be the outer box, and there's actually a box within a box. So you're seeing the inner box, which now explains that rigidity that we saw before. This is actually better than just a tray because all sides are protected. With trays, you can still, deform the front and potentially damage the item. But it looks like they thought of that and took precautions against it. So a lot of signs that this is going to be quality. So let's go ahead and open it up. Alright, so we get there. Okay. So Zeus 2, the QR code there. Okay, yeah, this looks to be the instructions. Okay. We get ready for that. Okay. So, what is this? Let me take a quick look what this is. Alright, so it turns out these are stickers. Okay. Alright. And then now it looks like we have the item. Headset's down here. We have a little box here. Cool, with the logo again. Let's see what we get in there. Okay, here appears to be all our cables. Okay. Okay. So here we have a little strap for wire management, I'm assuming. Here is our microphone. And it does bend. Okay. Oh, looks like they already connected some of these cables together. Alright, so here is our primary audio cable, it looks like. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but this is kind of a braided, maybe nylon or something, but yeah, so okay, there is one end. And you see it's connected into, okay, here's the split cable, that 2-in-1 that we saw in the box earlier. So here are your two ends. Red, I'm assuming, is the microphone. Green is probably the speakers or the headset. Okay, and then here is that, looks to be the, so we have USB-A. Came with a little plastic cap. Oh, alright. How's that? Let's see, lighting's here. See. Okay, yep. Alright, so USB-A. There you go. Nice. You can get a good hold of it when you're at the back of your PC. Okay, and then we have an anti-interference bead right there. And then again, this is also that same braided material. Okay, and then we come up to this is your inline controller. Let me see if I can. Okay, so going from the bottom, looks like mute sound to the headset. Then that must be mute microphone, obviously. And then up and down, probably for volume there. Okay. Back doesn't have any buttons. Feels pretty durable. It has this little protector where it inputs the inline control, and also one where it exits, hopefully to add some extra durability there. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so now there's another box here on the side. I'm assuming this will be the bag. So there it is. Bag. Alright. Cool. Okay, and then let's get to the main item now. Alright, so the headphones themselves do come in a tray. So, let me go ahead and move this out of the way. Okay. So, what we have here was talk about the headband first. Nice and a lot of squish there, so that should be quite comfortable. You can see the foam rebounds quite quick. Alright. Where they meet looks pretty clean. I don't see any little ray stitching or anything that's popping out. Like the big L and R, so quick glance, you know what side to put on what side of your head. This part here, this is aluminum. The cups, you've seen they got the logo, of course. Let's look at the inside of the muffs here. So the inside of the muff has the cool logo. These padding, wow, that is, I'll give you a little zoom back up here so you can see just how much squish there is. Look at that. That's a lot of squish, and again, the rebound is quite quick. See that? So hopefully that lasts a good long time. And yeah, these this aluminum. Oh, let's go ahead and do the extending out. See how that mechanic works. I'll back you up here a little bit. Okay, a little more. Okay, so go ahead and pull that out. Okay. Is there anything I need to know? Okay, okay, we're good. So maybe you can hear. So there do appear to be stops in there. You can probably feel it a little more than you can hear it, but okay. So here's what's contributing to those little stops, so you know how far you pulled out the headband or whatever. You see those little circles, so each one of those is a stop. So I guess that's an easy way. If you know 3 stops is where you want your headphones, then you know where to come back to. And yeah, let me go ahead and just put them on real briefly just to see. Left, okay. Yeah, they feel comfortable. And I can, there's quite a bit amount of isolation, so to hear my voice I have to talk louder, so I'm probably talking louder than I think I am. You know how that usually goes when you have hearing protection on. Yeah, that's what these feel like. They feel like hearing protection for the range. All right. So on each cup here you have this dragon emblem, which is made out of a whole bunch of vertical little strips. So it kind of adds these facets, which kind of give it a reflector-like quality. So I'm holding this flashlight trying to show you. There you go. You can see how it gleams. So that's cool. Alright, so let's talk about the cabling options. We kind of seen these all during the unboxing, but I just want to show you how you would go ahead and using them. You have 2 distinct options, and the great thing is you don't have to cannibalize parts off of one to get the other setup. They are both have everything they need on their own. So if you're with a PC, you'd obviously use this setup over here. You could connect this to your computer, your tower, whatever, and then the other end, this would go into the headset. And then you, of course, have your inline control, and you do have a good amount of cable here as far as length. So great. If you're not using a PC and you're using some other device like a console or something, I don't know, you would use this one here. And again, you have the one end here goes into the headset, and these 2 go into the console or devices ports. And if that device doesn't have a jack for the microphone, you can simply just disconnect the 2-in-1 split and just go back to a single cable. So I just put these up against this background in a change of lighting. You tell me, but do these appear to be plated? If so, that's supposed to give a better connection or a signal. So if so, that's a bonus. Alright, so you've probably noticed during the unboxing these wires here, and you're probably wondering, like, why are they just kind of hanging out there in free space? Actually, this is it's meant to function this way, and the idea here is that this allows the cups to move and turn and pivot, and you don't have to worry about them yanking on the cable, which obviously is providing the signal for the sound you're going to hear. So having them just kind of out here in free space is actually a way of protecting them and extending the longevity of your headset. Alright, so I've had a chance to use this for a bit, and I'm going to let you know what I found out. So first we'll start with the more physical elements, quality of life, the build materials, and just also a little about putting it together. And then after that we'll go into how does it perform, the sound and whatnot. Alright, so let's start off with the mic. Alright, so the microphone plugs into the left ear cup. And so here you can see it plugs in at an angle. So simple, put the jack into the
port. But you will notice that around the shoulders, or that shroud, what you can see exposed right now, you'll notice that it has a square shape, so you have to line up the square into the square hole. Now you'll also notice the side facing you should be in the center of the screen right now, has that little raised ridge. It's important to line that up. So yeah, because that stops it from spinning within the port. So that's good. Now also here, you can see where your actual data or the sound signal comes in. It plugs into that nice metal exposed port right there, and also it does a good job of holding it. It really does click in when you install it, so it should not come out on its own. Unless you really yank on it, it's not going to fall out, which is obviously a good thing. Alright, so here we are using the inline remote. I am connecting the headset to my computer using the USB cable. So, alright, so you can see here it does have an indicator LED. When my PC goes to sleep, this LED turns off, so it works as a status indicator. And speaking of which, you can also use the LED color to let you know if your mic is muted or not. So here we have the mic not being muted, and then that is mute, so you know what state your mic's in. Alright, now these buttons here, they're actually kind of a soft touch, kind of a rubberized feel, which feels good. And one of the things I noticed that this does not have, and therefore is better for it, is it does not have a volume wheel. The volume, as you've seen already, is handled through the plus and minus keys. And the reason not having a mouse wheel is such a good thing is that's an easy fail point for a headset. I've had headsets with the mouse wheel, sorry, not mouse wheel, the volume wheel on the side, and that gets really sensitive, and then even later in the headset's life, if anything even glances the volume wheel, doesn't even change it, just touches the volume wheel, it can cause distortion in the headset. So those volume wheels are sensitive, break easy point, and this does not have it. So, alright, so now back to the headset itself. I want to talk about the weight. It does have a good amount of weight. It's not super heavy, but it definitely has some mass to it, and I actually like that. Not only does it feel more quality, not like some cheap piece of plastic, but also when you slide this over your head, it kind of sinks onto it. Well, you set to the setting you want, and then after that it'll slide right onto your head, and the weight kind of causes it to fall into place. And another thing I like about it is, if you see here, the because of the amount of spring with this metal band, you see there, it keeps the two cups together, and this allows you to pick it up as a unit. And other cheaper headsets, the cups rattle, so because they don't close the space in between, and then they kind of rattle side to side, and I just don't like that. This is kind of a nice tight package here, so that's also another plus. Alright, so you can see here I have it set to 3 dots, and if I shake it up and down, still 3 dots. So it seems to be retaining its settings pretty well. Alright, now we'll go over comfort. So I wore these for an extended gaming session, and actually they're very comfortable. Not only do they have a lot of cushion on the ear cups, but also the cushion up here helps as well. For these, I decided to put on a pair of glasses just to see how they would feel if you wear glasses and want to wear these at the same time, and no discomfort to report, so that's good. Apparently the amount of squish in these ear cups makes room for the what do you call it, the bow of your glasses, the part that goes over your ear. So I know with some of these that don't have a lot of cushion, they can push the glasses into the side of your head and cause kind of discomfort over time. These did not seem to have that problem. Alright, so we're to the point of the review where we cover how did they perform. So to start off with, I'll give you a mic test sample.
This is a test of the microphone on the REDRAGON gaming headset. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, so how do they sound though? Alright, they actually sound really good. So to test this, I decided to play, of course, Cyberpunk 2077, and I went into the city center, and in this particular spot I was in, I tried to get as many sounds and things going on around me as possible. In a passive, the first test, I just basically was listening to the environment. We'll get to the action later. But anyway, in the environmental noise test, sound, whatever, I went to city center, and so on my left I had the road, cars going, to and fro. Then to my right, there was like a restaurant, and they had like a little TV, and it was playing the many commercials that you hear, or ads that you hear in Cyberpunk. The Nicola, of course, everyone knows that one. And then on top of that, there were some UVs, those aerial vehicles, right? Like Trauma Team. They flew by, or somebody, I didn't look up, but it was one of those that flew by. And then what else? The people on the street talking, and the music playing. Because in Cyberpunk now, you can listen to music while you're out of the car. So with all that going on, you could hear everything separate, clear enough to discern it, and the sounds didn't overwrite one another, which is really impressive. So now, as far as the combat goes, more of the action, car chase, explosions sounded nice and deep. Bass is actually really good. It's not overpowering to the point where it feels like gimmicky. It's just really good, sharp, quality, round sounding bass. So that's good. And also the higher pitch stuff, like the windows being shot out, was really clear too. Yeah, they performed really well. Alright, so 2 things left. We're going to do a quick disclaimer regarding use, and then I'll go into the conclusion. So, disclaimer regarding my use of this item, and that is to say I've made this review after using these for 1 day. Now, normally I'd use them for way longer and then make the review, but with the way things are going right now with trade and all that, I think it's best to get the review out as soon as possible. So if you are interested in picking up a pair, you can get what stock's left, or you might have to get them imported, and things might cost you a lot to do so. Alright, so now with that out of the way, if anything does happen, like I noticed, like, I don't know, the ear cup falls off or something, I'll definitely post that in the comments. But I don't think anything like that's going to happen because these seem actually quite well made. Alright, moving on to the conclusion. I'm actually really impressed with these, but not in a way that I kind of expected. I don't know, maybe I was expecting some kind of like gimmick or something, like, I don't know, they have rumble cups in the ears and then they vibrate on your head or something, like that. But no gimmicks, no like huge LEDs, I don't know. It just seems to be, they don't really have a gimmick, they're just good. And it kind of an all-round way. And I actually appreciate that, because then you don't have to sit there and deal with all kinds of settings and install different drivers. No, you just plug them in and go. And they have a real nice, balanced, crisp sound. So, and also as an added bonus, and I know this is an aesthetic thing, but there's a lack of RGB. Now, don't get me wrong, I like RGB, but this makes a good option. So even if you're not gaming, maybe you bring these to the workplace. I mean, they look better than, your just regular earphones that maybe the company will provide you. So everyone's going to know you brought them from home and whatnot. But they don't stand out looking like gamer. They don't have that kind of headphone equivalent of like Boy Racer, you know what I mean? So they're stylish, they're kind of classic. I mean, yeah, you got that little dragon, but I mean, he's cool, and it isn't too, too childish. And of course, red and black, always a good color combination, and the metal does add a bit of class to it too. So there is that as a plus if you're looking for something a little more grown up. And yeah, I'm happy with them, and I'm going to continue using them. So that's it.